Gaming journos continue to be offended by beautiful female video game characters, and this time IGN France gets ratioed and has to backtrack a little bit for attacking Eve from Stellar Blade, a big target from the gaming journos and the haters of beautiful women. So here we have, coming to us from Bounding into Comics, IGN France scrambles to backpedal after writing off Stellar Blade protagonist Eve as a doll sexualized by someone who has never seen a woman. I just want to know, has this journalist never seen a woman? Do they not recognize that beautiful women do in fact exist? But even beyond that, are we not allowed to have stylized characters anymore? Is this where we're at in games? Which kind of is, where we don't see the same stylization in video games as we used to with stuff. Everybody, almost everything mainstream feels like it has to be realistic. But even with the realm of realism, there are real beautiful women that exist, that they continue to uglify their face scans and bodies and all of that in these games. But Stellar Blade is not the case of that. So let's go ahead and read this, and then I wanted to kind of share some other stuff relating to the topic. All right, so in the latest example of the Western video game press having a chip on their shoulder when it comes to media created not just by Japan, but apparently an East Asian nation, IGN France has found themselves scrambling to defend themselves after writing off Stellar Blade's lead protagonist, Eve, despite being based entirely on the real-world appearance of an actual female model, of being nothing more than the sexualized fantasy of someone who has never seen a woman. Okay. The French arm of the video game news outlet leveled their accusation against Stellar Blade's artistic direction on March 27th as part of their preview of the South Korean character action title. Following a brief overview of the game's post-apocalypse, humanity must fight for survival premise, the outlet's Ben Osala took a detour to share his protestations against Eve's sexually appealing character design. All right, so he says, the design of the game, in particular its character, highlights an obvious bias, wrote Osala. Dude, is this a man? Ben? Why is it the male feminist, bro? Like, why? Insufferable. I'm telling you, male feminists hate women. I haven't seen anybody hate women like a male feminist. But this doesn't surprise me. Also, what we're seeing, and I've made videos on this and talked about this time and time again with the video game characters and them defeminizing the female characters, is they really want to blur the lines between male and female, and they want to create these androgynous characters, and in the case of women, they want to make them manly looking, and it's very odd. Okay, let's continue. Per an English translation of his piece provided by this article's author, we're going to beat up the alien, but if we can do it while pleasuring the eyes of the men, that's a bonus. And the result doesn't really work, he continued. It's not new, and other games have made the choice to highlight the assets of their female characters, but where Bayonetta bears an iconic character design, or 2B from Nier Automata, inspired by an entire generation of cosplayers, Stellar Blade's Eve is just boring, a doll sexualized by someone who has never seen a woman. I find this a really odd take. I don't see Eve's character design as boring or forgettable or anything like that. She definitely has a very unique and beautiful appearance. And she's got like, they made her like tall. They made her body, while curvy, it's not like that same cookie cutter body type that you would see in something pornographic, for example. I actually think the artist did take some creative liberties with her design and with her body, because even though she was scanned after a real model who is very tall and has or at least appears very tall and has the proportions, they still made her not look exactly the same. And I think they really did give her this is what I like to see in video games. This is where it's like a stylish approach, a cool art style that's not direct one for one, realism. So yeah, I'm not seeing anything forgettable here. I think if this character were just forgettable and only eye candy and that's it, or only this cookie cutter design that we've seen a million times over, I don't think it would be getting the attention that it's getting right now. All right, so let's continue reading the article. Unfortunately for Osala, even the briefest of internet searches regarding Stellar Blade's development reveals that his complaints are based not in any real world fact, but rather his own personal hangups. To start, Eve's designer, game director, and CEO of its publishing companies, Shift Up, Hung Tae Kim, has definitely seen a woman before, as evidenced by the fact that he's currently married to one. Also, she's a beautiful woman who he's married to. I don't get these same arguments that people, for some reason, they just don't like to see attractive characters. And I pulled up right here, which you can see in another tab. Like, dude, I've got Devil May Cry 5. We have V here. Here is, honestly, this entire game's cast. If you want to talk about, okay, where's the Stellar Blade for the female gaze? That would be Devil May Cry 5. You got Dante, you got Nero, you got V, you have Virgil. They were all very attractive characters in this game. Like, they did that. They did that. So it's not like we don't see male characters portrayed in this light. We do. Granted, they also have beautiful female characters as well. But yeah, it's just like, and obviously this isn't a game just for women. I mean, more men are playing it. I mean, more men play video games in general of this nature. I know they want to act like, oh, but women, there's a bunch of women gamers. There's this many, those statistics show this. Well, they're counting like Candy Crush and stuff like that. But yeah, if you're talking about, but still, even so, it's just like, okay, surprise, surprise, people like playing as attractive characters. This is why you see like Japan, for example, they tend to do this better than the West right now. The West is uglifying their characters. They're trying to make characters all across the board less attractive, but that is not the case at all with some of these other companies in like Japan, or in this case with Stellar Blade being Korean made, I believe. Now, do I think that there are, I think there still are some degenerate people that exist. Let's be real. We've seen them post their Rule 34 crap and all that, and a bunch of the like furry types people, a bunch of people even with like Overwatch fan art that draw really gross stuff. And so yeah, are there some degenerates who exist and want to turn everything pornographic? Yes, but I don't think that wanting attractive characters is that case. And the people who give us pushback for wanting characters to be attractive and aesthetically pleasing to look at are the same ones who are all about that sex work is real work. They're the ones that are telling women it's empowering to have OnlyFans and things like that and this weird stuff. And not only that, but they're the ones that are like looking at all this queer pornographic art on Twitter and crap. So anyway, but speaking of this topic in terms of graphics, attractive characters and all that, I made this post yesterday because I got a PS3. I got a backwards compatible PS3 so I could play like a bunch of the old games that my brothers and I collected. I am the holder of the PlayStation, of our PlayStation collection. They're holding the other stuff. But I am the holder of our PlayStation collection. So I brought my PS3 to our parents' house and we played some PS3 games. Some of our old PS3 or PS2 games. And here we had Folklore. And it just made me, I'm looking at the cutscene, at the intro, and the game, and the characters in general. My brothers and I were like, wow, this looks fantastic. Or my younger brother and I were playing this one. And we're like, this looks better. I like this art style better than most of what we get now. And what inspired this tweet, I said PS3 graphics were a lot more creative. I think this style looks so much better than most modern games that just focus on face scans and realism. This is stunning. So as you can see here, I mean, I just like this so much better. I don't like games that just do these realistic face scans. Now, I know I talked about Devil May Cry and they did face scans, or even Stellar Blade, they did body scans on her, but they still make it look stylish. They still add a style to it. They don't make it look, they don't make it try to make it look super realistic. I don't like realistic art styles. I just don't. Now there can be some exceptions. You know, something like Splinter Cell does need to, I think Splinter Cell does need to look a little more realistic and for what they're going for with that versus something like this. But still, as a whole, look at this. Even because we're looking at CG stuff, but let's even look at what you see more in engine here. But it's just so much. Look at that. Just looks, which I think this is actually CG too. But still, when you see the actual gameplay in engine, it also looks really good. Let's pull that up while I'm here. Because I just love folklore gameplay. I love it. Okay, here's somebody has a walkthrough. Let me try to pull up. All right, here we are. So here's the intro that we watched. Here you have, looks like they're going to start with Ellen. But look at this. I like this style so much. I love this style. I don't want characters to look boring and realistic. Even something like, there are some new games that do a good job with this. Devil May Cry 5, I will always just go on and on singing the praises of how great the art style was for Devil May Cry 5. So yeah, while they modeled the character after a real person, which normally I prefer they don't. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like face scans as much. But in this case, there's still a style to it. Doesn't have that Ubisoft that modern Ubisoft look that looks like trash. I don't like it. But yeah, I mean, this is still very stylish, amazing looking. Games just don't, they're not gonna, the problem with trying to make something look as realistic as possible is that video game lighting, shadows, all that kind of stuff, like it's different. It's not. So sometimes when games try to make their characters look as realistic as possible, you do reach some uncanny valley type thing, or you do reach a, hey, because of the limitations of the technology or the lighting or this or that, sometimes characters will look uglier than the real counterparts, and I just don't think that should be the case. I think that you want to be able to create attractive looking characters. There can still be some exceptions where a character can be ugly for whatever role they're playing. But in general, when we're playing video games, it's an escape from reality. We like to play as very attractive characters. That's part of the power fantasy. It's part of what will make the character seem powerful as well. And yeah, there's much more to it than just that. People who play classic Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, myself, she's so much more than just being an attractive character. She is awesome. She's bold. She's rebellious. So people who really latch onto these characters, they like these characters for so much more. We want well-written characters. We want dynamic characters. But making a character ugly does not make a character dynamic. Excuse me. Okay, there we go. That's that. But anyway, there you have it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you want me to read the Bible to you, you can check out my Bible channel, Bible Time with Melanie Mack. Also, I'm going to try to launch this week Go Boom Live, a live stream on Thursdays. I think Thursdays are a good day for that, where I just react to different topics going on in the nerd world, and maybe even some IRL crazy stuff going on as well. Talk about that, have just a live show with you guys, and I think it would be fun. So We'll give that a shot. But anyway, and then my gaming streams at Melanie Mac. So trying to balance everything. Probably on Wednesdays still for those. But anyway, thank you all again so much for hanging out. I will catch you next time. And in the meantime, go boom. Miles Morales is Miles Morales.